With me is Roy Zelser, head of sales, products, and services at TikTok.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Roy, you're no Gen Zer. How are you working for TikTok?
Wait, how do you see because of my hair?
I just assumed, yeah.
So I joined TikTok about a year and a half ago. Currently the head of sales for export verticals. But before that, I actually worked nearly a decade at Google in the same ecosystem, so the export ecosystem, which is very familiar to me. But I think there comes a time in your career where you feel that you start becoming unchallenged and the learning curve starts to flatten. And I think that point is very dangerous in everyone's career. So being that long at Google, it taught me a lot. I won't say it didn't, but when you combine that with the fact that, COVID hit and you start sitting at home and you start thinking about what you want to do, it got me really pursuing a new position in this new exciting company that came along. It had exactly the combination of what I wanted, just a perfect balance of a young startup company that's very eager to grow very fast, both in terms of the business and in terms of the people. But it also had the foundations of a big corporate, a global corporation. So for me, it had that perfect balance, and one thing led to another, and here I am.
That's super interesting. And you mentioned COVID and TikTok together. I feel like that's about the time where when TikTok kind of exploded and it became a really, really big thing. Do you see a connection between the two? Is there anything? I mean,
I think that obviously there is a connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in COVID, people are at home, lockdowns happen, so more people spend time on their phones, on their computers. So I think that obviously when you take people and force them to be longer time on their phone at home, they're looking for ways to escape.
Okay.
And the beauty about TikTok is that it's, let's take a step back and kind of talk about what exactly is TikTok. What is that experience? So TikTok is a short form discovery video platform.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say discovery, it's purely focused on discovery. It's not a social platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's a video discovery platform. So the algorithm kind of learns you as you start going and start having that experience within the app.
Yeah.
And it kind of fine tunes your interests based on the behavior and the interactions that you have with videos. So it kind of then suggests new content that you'd never know you'd actually like. For example, what's really trending right now is pool cleaning videos. So you see professional pool cleaners come in, take a dark green pool, pour some chemicals in it, treat it, and then all of a sudden it's like a clear blue pool. Honestly, I'm mesmerized by those videos. So those are videos that you would never go out and say oh, I want to watch pool cleaning videos. It's just something that pops up.
Monday morning, let's watch
some pool cleaning. Yeah. I think the magic of TikTok, so the mission is to inspire creativity and spread joy. And I think that the magic behind it is that the platform is very authentic.
Yeah.
So nothing's polished, no filters. And the whole idea is that everyone can create a TikTok. It's supposed to be super easy. It's supposed to be instant. So people do it, from their car seats, from their sofas. No, not a lot of need to get into high productions here. So
yeah.
And
you mentioned magic. It is literally magic. When I try to watch, when I sit with my phone and just scroll through it, I find just like you said, the pool video. I have Spackles video, people renovating their house. Now I know that I like seeing holes being fixed.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Around my house. But it's a thing because in the beginning they said that TikTok was a 12-year-old kind of lip sync app.
Yeah.
But today we see how-tos and tips and work hacks and things like that. I mean, just tell me a little bit about the moves on your part and the work you do to increase the engagement on Twitter within these different kinds of crowds.
TikTok, not Twitter.
Oh, wow. Okay. So tell me. Yeah, I don't even have Twitter planned for this podcast. Well, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, honest mistake, right? So, I mean, there are new crowds coming into this platform.
Yes.
So, tell me a little about the work that you do in order to get these crowds or help work with brands in order to initiate different kind of content that is wider?
Right. So first of all, I don't want to take a lot of credit about the work that we do.
It's all you.
It's all me.
It's all you.
It's all me.
Yeah.
I totally did all the work and deserve all the credit.
Good job.
But no, I mean, when you look at every platform, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, these are platforms that when they launched, obviously the early adopters are the younger generations, and every platform ages up as time goes on. I think that what happened with TikTok is that it aged up really fast because we had that COVID period that condensed a lot of progress years into like a couple of years. So I think it's very natural that older audiences are like streaming in now into TikTok, and we see that coming in. So it's far beyond what we had in when you mentioned lip syncing and challenges. It's for example, book talk, hashtag book talk. That's basically short videos of users uploading their feedback and experiences on specific books that they read, and they share comments, and that hashtag alone has reached over 40 billion views. And when you think about it, that's amazing because it brings back reading into pop culture, which was kind of like a thing. So we are rewriting our culture through TikTok. And another example is, for example, TikTok made me buy it.
Yeah.
So if you look at book talk, so the whole idea was that there's this big trend around books, and brands can identify those trends and kind of work with them. So just for example, because of book talk, now Barnes and Nobles have a book section, a physical book section in their stores for TikTok section, just because of the books that were published or reviewed on TikTok. And that kind of brings us to exactly the hashtag TikTok made me buy it, which also has 16 billion views, which just shows videos of users who bought something that they were inspired by just by watching someone else use it on TikTok, which kind of has that connection between the TikTok world and the offline world.
Wow, which is amazing, and it's super positive when we're talking about things like books, where people claim that will be disappearing anytime soon. But when we're looking at that and thinking of stories like the story with Trinidad Sandoval, how you guys, the work that you do is literally changing the world of consumption. So that story is about an anonymous lady who posted a video on eye cream, and that made that eye cream, it somehow became viral because it was magnificent. She put it on her face, and you actually see her face change. So it drove the product off the racks.
Have you tried it?
Of course, every morning.
I can see.
Before this podcast, when they told me they were going to shoot it, I said no. I got to use Trinidad Sandoval's eye cream. So, but when I'm thinking of content, I normally think of content. Successful content is organic in its nature. Someone creates a funny prank, a cool pool video. Someone finds a great product and talks about it authentically. How can brands really harness this and relate, because you're working with brands, and we'll get to that in a second, but I know that's one of your major pillars, TikTok, working brands. Eventually you got to make money. How do you, when you come to brands, to managers, and you talk to them about hopping on to the TikTok wagon, how do you show them that they can harness their organic power and join it without just making a fake ad like the old school ad that we've seen on other platforms before?
Well, that's a good example. So let's track back to the eye cream success. I think that's what's really beautiful about the platform, is that the fact that it really gives equal opportunity for everyone to become viral. When you think about it, TikTok is uploaded and then it gets tested out with testing audiences and impressions, and then the algorithm quickly learns whether it's getting good feedback and high interaction, and if it does, and people are giving attention, then it gets really rolled out very fast. So this is amazing, because when you think about it, it kind of levels the playing field between someone who's just uploading their first TikTok and at the same time someone who has hundreds of thousands of followers, and they both have the same odds, the odds for success on the platform. So that's like what's amazing about the platform. And the way that brands can leverage that is obviously work with creators. So when we work with advertisers, the first thing we say is harness the power of creators, because creators are the platform.
Yeah.
They grew up in the platform. They have like very high trust in the platform. Their followers have high trust in them. And so it's kind of a unique combination where we want brands to work with the creators so they can deliver their message. And we actually built a few tools to help them connect. So there's a marketplace, the TikTok Creators Marketplace, where brands can go out and reach out to creators, or on the other side, like just we just launched like a TikTok brand mission where a brand can actually upload their mission, and then creators can look at it and say, oh, I see that brief. I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
And then, they can work with the creators.
And how do you guard that authenticity, though? How do you make sure that not all the content starts to become, branded content and not authentic? Eventually, you'll get to that point. If someone has a lot of views, a lot of followers, they're going to start generating content, paid content. Is there a way to keep it authentic and true?
Yeah, well, I think that's like the key to success. I think that today's generation is very sensitive about advertising in general. I mean, when you look at it, think about, it started out as like DVRs, right?
Yeah.
Recording TV episodes and then fast forwarding the commercials. We see YouTube with the TrueView ads, like skippable ads, skipping ads. So we see streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus where you pay just not to see ads. So I think that today people are very aware when they see like a polished ad. And I think that naturally they're going to like skip it, and that's not going to be the success on TikTok. So what we try to do is make sure that brands, when they work with creators or when they produce on the platform, keep it very, very native to the platform and keep it rough. And when you do work with a creator, give them the freedom to do what they do, just incorporating your brand.
Okay, so let me simplify and paraphrase what you just said. Create good if you are a brand working on TikTok, you need to create good content. So let the creator do their work. Let them be in the front and put the brand, through the back door, so to speak. I think I just gave a really, really good answer.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
You're looking for a job?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So you've mentioned the users, and as one of the creators is one of your biggest assets, I think. And it's really interesting to see. You are a content platform, and there are many other content platforms out there. One is Netflix,
right,
who creates their own content, uses other contents that we all know, famous movies, sitcoms, shows, etc. You guys are basically connecting to your users, who are your biggest assets, to create your content. So it's kind of like a chicken and an egg kind of thing. Do you guys see yourselves this? I mean, I think let me try to rephrase what I'm asking.
I think you should.
Yeah, I think I'll try. So, do you guys see yourself more of a social platform who relies on users, or more like platforms such as Netflix and the likes who create content? Is it even possible to compare?
So, first of all, we're not a social platform. We don't rely on any social graph.
You don't refer to yourself as social media?
No, because when you think about it, think about the essence. Like, no two users are going to have the same TikTok experience.
Yeah.
And the platform does not rely on the social graphs. So it doesn't matter your circles of friends. It doesn't rely on who you're connected to on the platform. It just relies on what content you're watching and what you interact with.
Hey, but hang on. I mean, I'll stop you here. I mean, you and I both have Facebook accounts because we're boomers. But
you are.
I am, of course. But but my wife told me, by the way, that I drink soy milk, so I'm a boomer. But how is that even possible? It just entered. No. So okay. Anyways, so you and I have Facebook. We might have the same friends. Our Facebook experience is different. So how do you compare that to the TikTok experience? I mean, social media experience is different for everyone.
It is, but at a certain level. So if we look, I don't want to dive too deep into Facebook, right? But I mean, when you look at like election period, right? So we're probably going to have the same views in our Facebook feed, but on TikTok, it entirely relies on what you watch and what you engage with. So there will be no two TikTok experiences,
Yeah.
and I think that's what the real appeal. So if you talk about Gen Z, they'll have a different experience and watch different videos and different trends, versus me, who will watch pool cleaning and like Excel hacks,
Yeah.
which is amazing, by the way.
Try Monday hacks. I think it's going to even be better. But okay.
Okay, I will.
So how does this success now changes the way you guys work? Now you are like the trendiest, coolest place to be, the coolest company, ByteDance, TikTok, and your success is phenomenal now. It's become the most successful platform out there. How does that affect your everyday work? I know it's a big question, but I think to managers listening, tuning in to learn from your experience, I think it might be really interesting to know.
Well, first off, no pressure. No, I think that the fact that the success has come on so rapidly kind of, gives the tone of how we work as a company. So given the fact that we're growing so fast means that we have to move incredibly fast. And I see that on myself, and I see that on the team, and like as a company, we are moving incredibly fast.
Yeah.
So when we decide to start a new project, we don't have a lot of time for building strategies. We move to execution mode. It comes in all shapes and forms. So from a hiring perspective, we've grown massively. From onboarding clients. So everything that we do on the business side and on the HR side, we try to do it really fast, and that's kind of the tone that we have because we need to stay up with the pace of the success that the platform has had.
Super interesting. I can tell you from my end, excuse me, working at Monday, we are built in some sort of guilds. So in my team, I have a developer who belongs to the R&D guild. We have a designer. We have a creative writer, etc. And all of a sudden, you get these small startup within this big company. So you're moving really, really fast. You're very agile. Are there any agility tips and things of that sort that you know from TikTok, whether in the office you work or in others around the world?
Not something specific. I would just say that, as a mindset, in order for us to support the fast pace, we kind of tell everyone at the company that if you want to do something, do it. Just move forward and do it, even if it's out of your scope, if it's out of your responsibility. If you feel that there's something that you can do that will lead to a change, go out and do it. And I think that's the message that resonates with everyone at TikTok.
You've mentioned Facebook. You've mentioned other platforms. I mentioned Facebook, but before that, you mentioned Facebook. I'll try to keep it sensitive enough. How do you? I mean, you guys are at the trendiest platform right now. Some other, not to name names, other platforms are not at their hype they were in the past. How can TikTok keep its success in the long run and make sure it doesn't follow the tracks of other the giants who are not there anymore?
Well, I'm not sure that we are facing the same tracks because, again, I think that what's the big appeal of TikTok is that really there is something for everyone on a personal level. So I'm not sure that we're going to face that problem anytime soon. I think that we're just at a point where everything is still growing rapidly. We still have a lot of audiences coming on the platform, finding out what they wanted to see on TikTok. So just now we have, in the worlds of finance, of personal fitness, of e-commerce, of, entertainment, things are just starting to stream in to the platform. And we see that there's much more content getting created around all these areas. So as long as we maintain that focus of, spreading authenticity and spreading the creativity of everyone and everyone can be super approachable and everyone can become viral, I think that appeal will stay with us and will keep us successful for the long run.
And TikTok, I see it as being the microcosmos of Gen Z, the epicenter, right? And I'm sure you draw in a lot of people from that generation to work there. Let's talk hands-on, practical, from a practical aspect. Is it I mean, you and I are kind of in the same age. We've seen different people at different ages. Do you see any difference with this generation as opposed to previous ones? Are they different? I mean, it's always people always claim that they might be a little spoiled, maybe have they're working on their own terms. Do you see that in your work?
To be totally honest, no, we don't see that in the workplace. We can talk about Gen Z in general. You know, obviously they're a generation that growing up with the internet, and they are the generation that actually, let's say, popularized the selfie tone, right?
Yeah.
That like, why take a photo of the world when I can take a photo of myself?
Yeah.
So I think that there is like a lot of self-centricity in this generation, but in the workforce, we just see that like, I think this generation wants a voice to be heard, like as on an individual level and on a community level. They want to be heard. They want to have the freedom to do what they care about. I think that's very important for them. I think that this is a generation that has a lot of values, and is very aware of like, you know, consideration of others and like, you know.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow, a lot of values. That's not something you normally hear from an older generation speaking to about a younger generation. But
they're spoiled.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear. Cool. So they don't need anything specific. No more flexibility, time at home, things like that. I mean, no.
I think that in terms of flexibility and time at home, that's something that I think everyone needs post-COVID. So, you know, our lives changed post-COVID.
Yeah.
You know, people move, people shape their lives totally different. So I think that flexibility is not specific to that generation. I think it's for everyone.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the algorithms before, which you guys are doing a marvelous job at, knowing what the people need and how to utilize that data. How do you use data in other lines of your work, even HR, reports, marketing? Is there an interesting way of thinking that you guys have that other people can implement?
Yeah, so I'd love to give a sexy answer here and say, yeah, we harness the power of algorithms in our everyday work, but that's not how it works. So we are data-driven. I'll say that. So everything that we do, we work on a KPI mode, you know, and for those who don't know, key performance indicators. So everything, every project, every team, every sector works based off of KPIs. And what we put a lot of emphasis on is that these KPIs are measurable and trackable. So they have numbers to them. So from time to time, when we see the success and the progress of those projects, we look at the KPIs and we measure them. And if something is off track, we do some reallocation to those resources, whether it's like hiring or sales or any department. So we are numbers focused, and we do look at every project on a measurable scale. I'd say another point that I can give is also, you know, working with clients. So obviously TikTok is the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
And clients are always going to be doubtful on how successful they'll be as an advertiser on TikTok. So what we do, and we work closely with our marketing teams, is to build case studies. Mm-hmm. So these are like published cases that other advertisers have agreed to share. And basically we use numbers to kind of build our case with new clients. So, you know, whether it's like looking at CPAs or looking at the ROI coming in from the platform, things that will help us on a measurable scale to bring additional clients that are still doubtful.
Mm. And how do you incorporate your data, the use of data in negative aspects of, I wouldn't say social media, it's not social media, but online platforms? There are some things like inappropriate content for kids or disinformation, addictions. These are things we heard about in general as complaints about social media or trendy platforms of the likes. Is there a way for you guys to monitor this kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I think TikTok has heavily invested in the past year or two in content moderation and in the trust and safety teams. This is definitely one of the top priorities of the company as a whole, and the CEO speaks about this also. That this is our main goal at the time, to make sure that we have a safe environment, that we only have safe content, and we've grown in the trust and safety team, and we're doing a lot in terms of like content moderation around this.
Yeah. And what are your challenging moving forward in general, in your specific work?
Yeah, so I think that in my specific role, I think that there are a couple of challenges. One is, as I mentioned, like, we're the new platform.
Yeah.
So we're the new kid. Obviously, we're not going to get a high share of voice compared to Facebook and Google in terms of like ad spend. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. So most of our clients have a lot of years of experience producing creatives for YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, and they already have that skill set like embedded in their company. For example, Monday, I know that they do a lot of YouTube content. But in order to do TikTok,
don't put me in a problematic state here.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But in order to do TikTok, you need a totally different skill set. It's a different unit of economics. So you need to do a lot of creatives like at scale, but at low production costs, because they want to look authentic and native to the platform. Yeah. And I think that this is like kind of what we're facing right now, is kind of like market education. And market education in general is expensive and it takes time. So that is the first challenge, is kind of like educating our advertisers on how to succeed on the platform, which is very different than others. You can take a TV ad and reuse it on YouTube. You can take a Facebook ad and reuse it on Instagram, because they have the same look and feel, but TikTok is totally unique. So you need to kind of educate companies from scratch. I would say that the other challenge is more around proving the power of TikTok. So even advertisers that are on the platform, we still need to see how we can measure the total impact of TikTok. So looking back to what you mentioned before, TikTok is like a platform that's like no other. We can compare it mainly, I would say, to like Netflix or even television. And I think that, given the fact that TV has been around for like a couple of good decades, they have proved how powerful they can be in terms of like the halo effect of being on TV. And I think that we're still at a point where advertisers are coming in to compare us to like, Google and Facebook on like direct response, but they still haven't unlocked, what the halo effect of TikTok can be when a brand is on TikTok, how it affects all the other marketing channels. And I think that's something that we definitely need to focus on.
But we definitely see an effect. I mean, immediate effect. We see the power of it. And I like how you compared it to TV. I see my wife on it. She pauses Netflix or whatever she's watching at that moment to use TikTok, as opposed to other social platform where you can just do it on the go. And this is a TV on the go that you have.
Yeah. So I think the main test is what platform you can consume, as passive, like while you're driving or whatever. I think TikTok is very demanding. So it's attention demanding. Sound on, like right in front of you. You need to be like full on when you're on TikTok, versus Facebook, when you can scroll, or LinkedIn or other platforms that you can scroll, and then it's just in the background. So that's why it's more compared to like TV and Netflix, because I think we have the same situation. Like, we're sitting on the sofa, watching TV, watching Netflix. And then all of a sudden, Netflix becomes this like screen in the background where you're actually watching most of the time on your phone, cleaning pools.
Which is apparently the new thing. So we're running a little over the average TikTok, the length of the average TikTok video. So I'll give you one final question before we part ways. You worked in the tech industry for a while, and I'm sure you've learned a lot.
You're making me sound old.
Well, you are old. Um, well, you've been here. You've been around. You're not the new kid on the block. So, what is the one thing that TikTok, specifically TikTok, has taught you that you learned that you will take from it onward in your journey?
I think if there's one thing, well, obviously I think there's a lot, right? And I think it's still the starting point. I've been at TikTok for a year and a half. It feels a lot longer because of, the success and the progress we've had. But when you look at it, it is still a short time frame. I think that the one thing that I've learned the most is working in an environment that is super fast paced, always changing, and being resilient. I think let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
It's a demanding environment, and it's super challenging,
Yeah.
and growing at this pace, as I mentioned before, not only on the business side, but also on the people side, requires a lot of elasticity, and to be able to change the way you think and change the way you work and change the structure of the team and the way you approach client. And I think that being agile and being that resilient to change is something that TikTok definitely taught me, and I will definitely take forward.
Wow. And I can say that we're all acquaintances. I can say that I never saw you work so diligently until you came to TikTok.
Don't say that.
You were you were nothing before. No, I'm kidding. No, you guys are doing a great job, and it's really, really impressive. I want to thank you for your time, Uri.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, and I hope you'll tune in to listen to it.
Can I get my coffee now?
Sure. Let's
Okay.
go. Let's go.